Hey guys, welcome back to another mobility warm-up routine. Today we have Dr. Jared here and we are going to be going into...
We're going to be doing just a generalized foam roll warm-up before any kind of workout. We're not targeting anything specific injury-wise, it's just a general warm-up, and we'll get started. Alright guys, with the mobility routine we want to start from the bottom and work our way all the way to the top. So the first place we're going to start, a lot of you guys probably don't even think to do this, is the bottom of the foot. So what Vic's going to do here, she's going to put her foot on there, she's going to roll around, try to find some sore spots. The reason we do this is a lot of your calf musculature actually comes down behind the medial malleolus into the bottom of the foot, and it can actually limit dorsiflexion for your squats. So we really want to make sure that the bottom of our foot is nice and loose and versatile. So the other thing we're going to do is if you find a spot that's sore, maybe like right there, you're going to hang out right there, and then you're going to bring your toes up and down, and we're going to work on that kind of pin and stretch technique that you hear me talk about a lot in a lot of my other videos. The goal here again is to loosen up the bottom of the foot, make that foot more versatile, and then again it'll translate into all your lifts. Alright guys, next we're moving from the foot up to the calf. Again, as we talked about, a lot of this calf musculature does come around into the foot and can limit dorsiflexion. You also have your gastroc and your soleus complex here. You have your peroneal muscles on the side that do a lot of foot control as well. So we're going to make sure we're getting these all nice and loose. Get the tension out of those muscles. So Vic's going to go ahead and roll back and forth for me. Perfect. What we can do here as well, come up with just a little bit. When you hit a spot over here, it's probably pretty sore. You can actually bring this foot up, bring this foot down. Again, that pin and stretch technique. What Vic's also going to do is she's going to roll the outside of her calf, because as we talked about, there's the peroneal muscles here that control the foot. And then you do have some muscle bellies in here that I said come around through here. So she's going to rotate back into those. And she'll probably get right about here. You'll find it's a little sore. And you can use this leg to push down, a little pressure. And again, you're going to move the foot not only up and down, in and out, all the way around like this, especially if you find some sore spots. And that's how we'll get that calf musculature a little loosened up. Again, translate right into your lifts. Alright guys, now we're moving into the hamstrings. So we have what we call 3.5 hamstrings: semi-membranosus, semi-tendinosus, biceps femoris, long head and short head. So what we're working here now is we're trying to loosen up some of those hamstring structures. So go ahead and roll back and forth. Get nice and high, all the way up to the glute insert if you can. Boom, right there. We're going to work the outside and the inside as well. Bringing that leg all the way in. Your biceps femoris short head is right about here. A lot of you will have trigger points there, so make sure we're spending some time there. As you notice, for this one, she's using a yoga block that's been cut in half. Trying to give her wrists a little break. Some of these positions, being in that deep wrist extension, can be a little painful. This again will help with your hamstring length for your workouts, and it's a great one to get going on.
And as you said, to add a little bit more resistance, you can put the leg on top.
Yeah, you can push down this leg, especially if you find a spot that's kind of sore. So like this one's usually sore, roll out for me. Right there, boom. You can try to move the leg a little bit, just bend the knee. Perfect. And you can try to get a little pin and stretch on that stuff too. So you can get kind of creative with this stuff. Alright, next we're moving up from the hamstring into the glute musculature, glute max, glute min, glute med, and even some piriformis stuff. So Vic's going to roll back and forth. She's going to kind of rotate her pelvis as she does it to kind of get the different angles, the different fiber directions that are very important to consider. Getting right up to the top of the pelvis here, where the glute min is. Right up in there like that. You'll find, and again, if you find some trigger points, hang out there for 10-15 seconds. Try to get them kind of calm down and relax. If you're not getting enough out of this, what you can do is you're going to switch out the foam roller for the cross ball. This one you will definitely feel.
Oh yeah.
Again, it gets a little deeper. Again, scale of pain, 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt, 0 being no pain at all. You always want to stay around between like a 5, maybe even shy of 5, because again, they're not trying to damage tissue or bruise tissue. We're just trying to actually put it in a calm environment. So you can't really do that if you can't actually relax the muscle because you're in so much pain. So give this one a try, and then we'll keep going. Alright guys, we move up from the glutes to the low back. You have your QLs, your lumbar erectors, and some of your latissimus dorsi if you start getting on your sides a little bit. What you'll see is Vic's keeping the core tight so that her low back isn't arching. You don't really want to encourage what we call a lumbar lordosis, because then your facet joints will start to like really close in on each other and it'll actually start to get pretty irritating, especially if you already have a back issue. So what we're going to do, Vic, is going to keep the core tight, the glutes kind of turned on and tucked, and we're going to roll back and forth. So we're going to go all the way to the top of her pelvis, and then all the way back down, and all the way to the top of the pelvis. To try to limit the strain on the neck, you can't put your hands behind your head, so you can kind of relax your neck a little bit, just like that too. You can kind of rotate the knees to one side or the other to really kind of target one side of the QL or the other side of the QL, things like that. If you find a spot that's kind of sore, hang out there for a minute, again, 10-15 seconds. Next, you're moving up to the thoracic spine, which is basically about mid-back all the way up to the neck there. And what Vic's going to do is she's going to roll back and forth through this region here, all the way up, right about there. Again, it's important to keep the low back neutral, because we don't want to encourage, again, that extension position. What we're going to do now is just going to come right about there. You're going to drop your butt, perfect. And now you're just going to kind of rock through the upper back there, perfect. Then you're going to kind of come to a different spot, slide a little towards me, perfect. Rock through there. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of hit every vertebrae and kind of encourage that thoracic extension. A lot of us are limited there. The next thing we can do to really add some intensity is she's going to go all the way back. She's going to stick her arms straight out. And again, we're going to tuck the glutes and keep the low back neutral. Perfect. And then you're going to really roll that upper back there. You're going to feel it, your middle tract, your rhomboids. You're going to find a lot of nasty stuff up in there that you've been accumulating over probably COVID quarantine, sitting at desk, watching TV, things like that. And neglecting it just in general. So this will really help get that area loosened up, especially for any kind of overhead lifting or just going for a walk, honestly. Decreasing that tension in the upper back always feels great. Alright guys, this next one is a typical position you would have on the beach when you're tanning or taking Instagram photos, as we see with Vic here.
Oh my God.
So we're going to try to get that upper lat musculature to kind of loosen up some of that shoulder. So as you can see, Vic's using this foot to stabilize and kind of push the drive herself up. She's kind of doing a little twisting motion because she's finding that that's hitting her particular lat position. Some of you will find it in a different area. You'll see that the right under the armpit is going to be very sensitive, which is why she seems to be spending a lot of time there. But yeah, again, loosening up that area will help with any overhead stuff, help loosen up the shoulder. If you ever feel like you're tight in the armpit, this is a good one to kind of work on. Alright guys, this next one we're going to try to get the front of the hip loosened up. As you can see, Vic's more towards the end of the foam roller, that way it gives her more space to kind of roll around. So we're going to kind of hit the front of the hip right about here, then we're going to go all the way up into the oblique kind of area here. Boom, just like that. And again, if you find anything that's sore, make sure you're hanging out there a little bit. Perfect. Make sure this particular floor maybe isn't great for this foam roller because it likes to slide. A more rubber texture or at the gym usually works pretty well for this kind of stuff. And then guys, to finish up this lower body kind of foam roll mobility routine, Vic's going to hit the inside of her thigh here. This is an area that's really neglected, I find. And this can be one of the reasons why you have like a knee falling in when you squat and things like that, because this muscle here will just doesn't want to elongate, so it kind of locks. And then as you squat, that knee ends up pulling in and the foot turns out and things like that. So if you find this is really sore, you can go to my channel and check out some of my daily tips on how to loosen up that adductor as well and strengthen it.